What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's July 26th, 2016, the day after my 37th birthday, which unfortunately I had to work on, even though it was 4.5 hours in the evening. Um, but still, I had to work, made some money. But also, that meant that unfortunately I missed out on the first Monday Night Raw of the new era in WWE. That's right, I missed out on the new era of Monday Night Raw in the WWE because I had to work. I mean, I did kind of read up on the spoilers a little bit before I left, but not much. So, un- so unfortunately, I didn't get to see Raw tonight. I looked up the videos and everything, and I was kind of surprised by what I saw. So, of course, I busted out the Kindle and looked up ringsidenews.com and the results, and lo and behold, it was quite a surprising night. A lot of people from the Lex Man and several others have said that this was basically an A show, an A plus show, A minus, basically an A minus, A plus show. Now I know there's going to be some people that are still going to crap on it. You know, some people are going to still say, oh, it was a C, or it was a B, or it was an F, or a D. And mainly it's because these are the kind of fans, let me point this out, that are conditioned to want to see things the way they want to see it. That when you're a company like WWE and you say you're going to you're starting a new era with two different established rosters on two different shows that are being treated as two different brands, companies within a company, then you pretty much picture in your mind, ooh, this is going to be just, ooh, now we're going to get matches and wrestling just like in IWGP New Japan and Ring of Honor and PWG. Ooh, we're going to get 40 minutes. The first matches are going to go like 40 minutes before the first fall and da 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 da. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, folks. Lord forgive me. Lord forgive me for acting, for kind of joking there in that manner. But, and again, Lord forgive me. The the Okay, sorry about that, but like I said, you know, again, God forgive me for acting that way or joking about it that way, but or describing it that way. Lord, please forgive me. But the thing is, that's how some are conditioned. It's kind of like at my job. You know, I could have myself or any other associate could have the lights off on the register, and yet people still keep coming. They still keep coming. In fact, I think one of the CSMs who's kind of like in her first few months as CSM, and basically is finishing off her first month as or first month and a half as a full CSM, um, customer service manager that is, kind of had this reaction the other day when she was going to get ready to audit my drawer, and all of a sudden these people keep coming. And she's like, even though the light was off, she's like she couldn't believe it. So basically, sort of in a comparison, that's how some of the fans are. Some of those hardcore fans are. You know, they're conditioned to like things a certain way and expect things a certain way. So, with that said, though, a lot of major things came out of Raw tonight that fans made Raw worthy of being an A show. You know, Sasha Banks. I thought they were going to save this to SummerSlam, but I guess they wanted to show that, hey, this is a new era and things are going to be different. Sasha Banks becomes the women's champion. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are hoping they don't do a hot potato with this between her and Charlotte. So, we'll have to wait and see. Uh, Obviously, the establishing a tag team title feud between the club and New Day. And then to really show that things are different, they had the introduction, not physically, but verbally, uh, the introduction, again, like I said, not physically but verbally, but soon to be physically at SummerSlam, of the new WWE Universal Championship. That's right. We were always wondering, what exactly was going to happen after Battleground. Was the WWE Champion going to go across both brands? Apparently, that's not going to be the case for the champions that get drafted. So basically, what this means is we can expect tonight on SmackDown Live, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan to probably make an announcement of some new championships coming there to kind of equal things out. But like I said, with that mentioned, we get the introduction of the Universal Championship. Two Fatal 4-Way matches took place with the winners facing each other in the main event later last night on Raw, with the winner of that going on to face Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Now, I know a lot of people are not happy that Seth didn't work for his shot or anything. You got to remember, from a storyline perspective, Seth Rollins and Stephanie McMahon, I said this before and I will say this again. I think I said, hold on, let me see. Yeah, I said this back about 5 days ago, and I'll say it again. Yeah, it's hard to believe 5 days have already passed, right? But I'll say it again. This is basically, from a storyline perspective, going to, down the line, maybe before this year's out, going to turn into nothing more than SmackDown Live, mostly Shane and Daniel Bryan, versus, with the exception of Mick Foley, the Authority. That's what it is. It's building up to the return of the Authority, with the exception of Mick Foley. Maybe Mick will only be there for, like Shane said, a few months or something. But it's going to build to that point. Unless they give us some kind of twist or something like that, it's going to build to the Authority coming back into power, and this is how they're doing it. They're slowly building towards that return, and it's going to lead to a brand feud. It's going to lead to a feud for brand supremacy, if not control, for both brands, both shows, between Shane, Daniel Bryan, and the Authority. That's what it's leading to, and I know not a lot of people want to hear that, but that's what it's leading to, and that's why Seth Rollins got the straight pass to the Raw main event at SummerSlam. So, and also, if you want to look at it from a sports equation, it was from a sports equation or a sports outlook. In reality, him being the number one overall draft pick in the WWE draft this year does kind of legitimize his straight path to the WWE Universal Championship match at SummerSlam. Now, would Roman Reigns get that same pass? Probably. From a storyline perspective, if Seth Rollins was the one to eat the pinfall up at Battleground, probably, but we don't know. You got to remember, this is probably going to also build to a rematch between Roman Reigns and Triple H, because of the fact that Triple H lost to him at WrestleMania, and there's still a grudge there at the fact that Triple H not only lost to him at WrestleMania, but Triple H also got the hell beat out of him last year at TLC. And also, when you think about it, there's still a grudge with Stephanie because she got speared at WrestleMania as well. So there's still that grudge there, which of course is going to play in part of that whole Authority versus Shane Daniel Bryan feud, with a few components added in, like a Roman Reigns and maybe a Mick Foley if he doesn't just stay out of it. So you can expect that to happen down the line. But getting back on topic here, they did have two matches. The winners of those matches, like I said, those two Fatal 4-Ways, would face each other later last night in the main event, with the winner facing Seth Rollins. Well, Finn Balor finally made his Raw debut, his main roster debut, won his Fatal 4-Way, and Roman Reigns ended up winning his fatal 4-way. The two met in the finals, and a lot of people were worried. I'm pretty sure of it, because the Lex Man even said he was worried. But surprise, surprise, WWE, I guess, is trying to prove that this is a new era and it's not going to be the same old crap again. So, as so far as we think, for the time being, that Finn Balor is the one that went over. So obviously they're investing a lot of stock in him. And now we got Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, which I'm pretty sure they have faced each other before in the past on the indie circuit. I'm pretty sure they faced each other in PWG, in a Ring of Honor, and in Japan. So they pretty much know each other in a sense that you can expect a classic match for them at SummerSlam, being the first time they'll meet at SummerSlam. First time they'll meet in the WWE at SummerSlam. First time they'll face off in the WWE at SummerSlam. So it'll be interesting because they're probably going to have good chemistry from the past encounters outside of WWE. But getting back on topic here, I'm sure, a lot of people, when they heard the introduction, like I said, not physically, but verbally, of the WWE Universal Championship, a lot of people like Alex, the Lex Man, didn't like it. They didn't like the name. It's like, to them, it's almost like comedic in a sense. Like, seriously, your flagship show's champion is going to be the Universal Champion? I can understand it's kind of a comedic tone. I mean, heck, when I read about it, because I did read a little bit of spoilers before I left for work. When I read that, the first thought that went in my mind was Universal. That's kind of ironic, seeing as though WWE Raw is on the USA Network, which is part of the NBC family of networks, which is part of the Comcast the Comcast family, or multimedia family of entertainment, which includes Universal Pictures. Yeah, Comcast, believe it or not, in case you guys don't know, they own NBC and any of the NBC-related broadcasting cable networks, like USA, and they also own Universal Pictures. So they're all basically under one conglomerate. And I was thinking to myself, isn't that kind of ironic? Because they're all under that Comcast and Xfinity umbrella of an entertainment multi-conglomerate family. So I kind of thought to myself, it's kind of funny that WWE is calling the Raw, the WWE Raw is calling their championship the Universal Championship, which could be a nod to of course, the WWE Universe, but also a nod to, Comcast and Xfinity, the Comcast company, and their, ownership of Universal, which is part of the Comcast family of entertainment, along with the NBC networks. So, I thought I thought that was kind of ironic in my opinion. But getting back on topic here, a lot of people like the Lex Man kind of found the name for this to be kind of ridiculous, comedic, humorous, I guess. And I was kind of surprised that Alex, the Lex Man, didn't even know, about this. About the fact that there are and were companies out there that had Universal Championships as their equivalent to the world title. The most notable, in case you don't know, is the World Wrestling Council, in Puerto Rico. Basically, long story short, the WWC world champion at the time, Carlos Colon, beat the NWA world champion Ric Flair. Now, I have to look up information, but because of this, and proving that the WWC World Title, in a sense, was more superior to the NWA World Title, they decided in storyline, and I guess in reality, to recrescent it the Universal Championship. So to me, it almost, thinking about it there, it's almost like the WWE's kind of taking a page, in a sense, and reworking it out of the storyline that WWC had with NWA, out of the reality and storyline WWC had with the NWA, and to basically answer the fact that the WWE World Championship is now on SmackDown Live, they decide to create the Universal Championship to contract that. So now that I think about it, it seems that maybe they got that idea from there somewhere, or maybe it's just coincidence. But it's nothing new. It really isn't nothing new. And the names of the people that have held that championship is like almost a who's who of wrestlers. Excuse me. It's almost like a who's who of, WWE alumni and NWA WCW alumni. I mean, when I look down this list here, you got Mabel Viscera, you got Greg Valentine, you got Jerry Flynn, Vampiro, Conan, Sabu. Let's see, Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer, Dallas. John, you have Heidenreich that's held it. Carlito has held it. Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, he's held it. Steve Corino, Scott Steiner, Shelton Benjamin. Ricky Banderas, better known right now as Mil. Can't even think of his name, and Lucha Underground pronounced his name. Can't think of it right now. Mil Masteris or whatever. Basically, the Lucha Underground version or answer to Undertaker in a sense. You have all these people that have held the championship. Like I said, Ox Baker, Dick Murdoch, you've had, like I said, you've had all these Mil Muertes. But like I said, you have all these guys that are who's who of wrestling, not just in WWE, NWA, WCW, but all over, that have held this championship. That have held this championship. And, it's nothing new to professional wrestling to have a world title be christened the Universal Championship, because in a company's eyes, whether it's reality or storyline, they want to show that their championship is the most important championship. I mean, even Kurt Hennig held the championship. Mr. Perfect, he held it. So, that to me, that tells you how important that championship could be. So, again, it's nothing new to professional wrestling. It's just, whether in reality or based on a storyline, it's just a company's way of trying to say, hey, our championship is the best championship out there. And if you want a quick summary, let me see where I'm at time-wise here. If you want a quick summary of why WWC, World Wrestling Council, calls their championship the Universal title, this is what Wikipedia puts down, and I quote, "The title was introduced as a plot device to promote the return of Abdul the Butcher on July 21st, 1982. It was originally named the Capital Sports Promotions (CSP) World Heavyweight Championship. Within a year, the title was renamed the CSP Universal Heavyweight Championship, following a storyline where the titleist, Carlos Colon Sr., defeated NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair in a match to determine which title had supremacy. When CSP reorganized and adopted the name of WWC, the championship's acronym was changed along with it. It has remained under the name ever since, but due to copyright concerns, it was briefly renamed Capital Heavyweight Championship when the IWA gained possession of the belt on January 6, 2008. So there you go basically. So again though, it's nothing new. It's nothing really new for a company, either in storyline or reality, to create a Universal Championship to be their equivalent. Like I said, to be their equivalent of the World Heavyweight Championship. And in the case of WWC's situation, they wanted to prove that their championship was more superior to the NWA's. Now, the question I think a lot of people are going to have is, even though this sounds good for right now, this does have potential to be a great, a great championship to go after. I'm sure a lot of people are concerned of how long it's going to be around, the longevity of this championship. Like how long is it going to last in the company? Are we going to get a repeat down the line sooner than later of it being nothing more than a prop, in which it is, in a sense. I look at it this way. I like the potential that it has to help build some of the young future talent on the Raw roster. I see guys like a Seth Rollins, a Roman Reigns, whether we like him or not, a Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, a Sami Zayn, a Cesaro, a Sin Cara, a Neville. I can see guys like that maybe having maybe a short run or a long-term run or a mediocre kind of in the middle run and reign with that championship. I could see that happening. I could see that. I could see someone like Finn Balor holding the championship for maybe a few months. I could see someone like Seth Rollins holding it for a few months. I could see someone like Roman Reigns, if they still get back behind him, holding it for quite some time. Same with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I could see them having I could see them having decent title runs with this championship. But what I see this championship as being is nothing more than a stepping stone to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. That's what I see it as. I hate to say that. You're trying to put it on the same plateau as the WWE World title, and I'll give them credit for trying to do that in storyline and reality. But when you look at it from afar, and you look at it from a fan's eyes, especially a longtime fan like myself, and you maybe look at it from an insider's perspective, this is nothing more than another developmental world championship that's just the next step to the main title. I mean, come on. Think about it this way. The only reason they had guys like John Cena and, Triple H and Randy Orton and The Undertaker hold the World Heavyweight Championship, the big gold belt, if you will, when it was around, was to give it some legitimacy, was to show it still was relevant and meant something. Even when CM Punk was champion. But the fact of the matter is this. Even when the Edge was champion, but the fact of the matter is this. Take a look at the list of names of established legendary stars that held that championship. Rock, he held it when it was the WCW title and then became the World Championship. Kurt Angle held it held it when it was WCW Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. So that helped give it some legitimacy. But take a look at the list of guys that held it more times than, let's say, The Undertaker or John Cena or anybody else. Let's take a look. Edge, CM Punk. Who else? Dolph Ziggler held it. Who else? Trying to think. Hold on for a sec. Rey Mysterio. There's no one I didn't even think of. Batista, he held it, and that was he was basically the first young guy to hold it, the first of the new crop, if you will. You know, let's see. Benoit, he held it, even though he held it in WCW very briefly, and I mean very briefly. Rey Mysterio, like I said. Booker T, he held it several times in WCW, held it here in WWE. Let's see. Edge, of course, like I mentioned. Great Khali, whether we like him or not, he held it. CM Punk, like I mentioned. Chris Jericho actually got to hold it for once, or second time, or what, a couple of times, even though he held it when it was the WCW title. You know, let's see. Jeff Hardy, he held it. I think that was one of the first championships he held. He held it twice. Like I said, CM Punk held it a few times. He held it like, let's see, 3 times. Jack Swagger, he held it. A guy that right now is, I guess, they're trying to get back together, rebuild. Christian, twice. Mark Henry, that was the only world championship he held. Daniel Bryan, that was his first world title in WWE. You know. And the list goes on. But again, you know, some of the younger guys held that championship. And that's not a joke. And true, sometimes they just held it once. But if you take a look at the list, if you will. A lot of the guys that no one ever thought would get a chance at being a champion held that belt. Yes, it started out with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Goldberg and such, but I want you to take a look at the fact that even though it went between Triple H a lot and his opponents like Randy and Chris and even Goldberg, you know, a majority of the guys that held it afterwards, with the exception of Undertaker, you know, and Kurt Angle, are guys that in WWE, from your standpoint in WWE, would never get a chance to be on top, and they did because of this belt. Because of the World Heavyweight Championship. And again, as crazy as that sounds, that's how I view this happening. That's how I view this Universal Championship, as being in that same category. Yeah, whoever gets it is going to be champion, but all it's going to be, basically, ladies and gentlemen, is a stepping stone to the WWE World Title. Because think about it: if they're planning to have a draft every year, and let's say the drafts that come afterwards are going to be draft lotteries with random picks, I wouldn't be surprised next year if they go in that direction like they've done before. That when Shane randomly picks out of, let's say, the draft lottery, out of a tumbler or whatever, that he picks out the Universal Champion's name, and then on the opposite side you have Stephanie and Mick Foley pull out the WWE World Champion's name. So to me, I think that's what it's being. It's being set up to be that stepping stone title that eventually, just like the world title, is going to find its way over to SmackDown Live. I just feel that's what's going to happen. I feel that's why it's being introduced. Just like the World Heavyweight Championship was uh, resurrected by Eric Bischoff in storyline and awarded to Triple H on Raw in 2002. Not similar or the same, but basically you get that similar kind of vibe here with the winner of Balor Rollins being the inaugural Universal Champion and the Universal Championship being on Raw to being uh, uh, created, being debuted on Raw, basically, like I said, being created, introduced, used, and shown off on the flagship show to guide it to basically get established, so that when it eventually moves over to SmackDown Live, it becomes SmackDown Live's primary championship. That's what it's doing. It's basically being set up to be to get established on the flagship show, so that by next year or the following year, it gets sent. It'll be drafted over to SmackDown, where the World Championship will come back to WWE World Championship, or WWE Championship will end up back on Raw. I know that's going to happen. I see it happening, and I know a lot of you see it happening too. So, with that said, though, I do see the potential that this Universal Heavyweight Championship has to build up, to build up some young future stars. But I also see guys like a Triple H, maybe a Big Show, maybe a Randy Orton. Well, not a Randy Orton, but a Triple H, an Undertaker, maybe a John Cena down the line, maybe even a Randy Orton as well down the line, getting a crack at being champion, being the Universal Champion as well, so that way they can say at least they held every major world title the WWE had to offer. So I do see that happening, even if some of us don't like it at all. So, but with that said, as far as the Universal Championship is concerned, like I said, I think it's a great concept, and it's a great concept to help establish the young future talent on Raw. And yes, I do see some legends, veterans like Undertaker. I see Brock. I see Triple H. Sheamus maybe. I see guys like, when they get a shot at it down the line in the future, and it's going to happen. Cena and Orton all having runs with this title. I do see it. Heck, I even see AJ Styles getting a crack at it as well. So, but again, this is just a championship that to me is being made, is being introduced, and on Raw, so that it could be established there, and so that it could get firmly established there, just like the World Heavyweight Championship got reestablished in 2002, so that when it's established enough, and whoever the champion is, it will be ready to be moved over to SmackDown. That's basically what the Universal Championship is being created for. So, let me know what you guys think, though, down below about the Universal Heavyweight Championship. Do you agree with what I had to say here? I'm sorry this video was long. I just had a lot to say and a lot of information to look up, so I do apologize for it being over a half hour. But let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like, and I am out.